if you watch the damn movie, they showed you the shit got airborne. And then they had to contain the people that was going to drop a bomb on all the people. Let's get a little funky here. Let's get a little funky. They're going, 1 million men go in. Boom, they get airborne Ebola. They take it back. Oh, but they done registered 1 million men. You got to register just to vote. Plus, right, you got to register. So they registered 1 million men. So check this out. When you take it back, they got a track. So when they come and bust up in your house and say you got Ebola, they got everybody else up in the house because it's airborne Ebola. Boom. Justification to locking black people down in concentration camps. Okay, let's go a little further than that. Let you think I'm bullshitting, they already did it. They did it 2 weeks ago on TV set, on the TV. If you go and see, oh, they did it on the TV. 2 weeks ago they had a doggone show that came on called Omen. On NBC on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, 2 weeks ago. People didn't check it out. I called a sister in New York and told her to record it, and for some reason, she hauled ass out to run to the save and didn't record it. And I said, you just missed one of the most important things that went down. In the actual show, they showed a series of things. One of the things was the doctor was operating on the body, and this thing came out of the body and knocked everybody out. You remember that happened last year? Or the gas that really happened in real life. So they showed that. They showed this thing get into this particular person who was like a clone, and it possessed his body. He goes into the CDC, breaks into CDC and get a vial of the Ebola. Takes it out to the Irish. It's St. Patrick's Day, and what the Irish is known as what? The black people of Europe. The niggas of Europe. He takes it out to, that's cold. Irish, they didn't show black people because it'd be too obvious. They put the Irish to say them niggas. He takes it out to the quote-unquote black parade, and he's getting ready to drop it in the parade, the Ebola. But the person catches him. They catch him, and they catch the vial. But still yet, they put it all on the doggone show, and they had it on one Tuesday night, showing the niggas what they're going to do. The parade is the 1 Million Man March. That's right. You see, they showed them what they was going to do. They said that they was going to come back, and they showed scenes for the next week, and they was coming back on again to show more, and it was going to be a countdown on what they was going to do in this show Omen. But me and Juju busted the shit, but they can't see us because we cloaked, but they can hear us. Because all you got to do is go see the movie Dark Territory with Steven Seagal and see this fucking this Hubble telescope that can see you on the ground just as clear as a damn TV set. Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. Under Siege 2. But they couldn't see us, but they could hear us, and they heard us. We were saying we were going to check it out the next week, and the next week they took the shit off TV. It was supposed to have been a damn series. They took it off TV because they heard us, you see. But they got it in the whatchamacallit. Now, let's go on a little further then. Let's go on a little further. Okay? About this Ebola thing. They already showed you what they was going to do in the movie. Don't think the cracker, if they're going to set up, they're going to allow you to march, and they're not going to take advantage of the situation. 1 million niggas delivering themselves up into danger, and this man got chemical warfare? Come on, man.
When they put it together in the first place?
And they put it together in the first place. Now, okay, they did the test run. They showed the show on NBC now. They showed the first show in doggone May. May 3rd. No, May, let's see, it was on the 10th. May 7th. They showed it on TV about the woman, somebody was running around shooting people with the Ebola thing in the doggone immunization needles, CDC, on a vaccine gun. And 2 days later, the damn thing broke out in Africa. Broke out in Africa. And the people, when it broke out in Africa, the brothers and sisters in Africa was fighting the damn doctor. They said, well, why they was fighting the doctors? They say because the shit broke out in the hospital, and the people over here ain't food. They say the doctors gave it to the people. It broke out in the hospital. You know, a lot of people in Africa they just psychic automatically. So they know. You say, well, they're not intellectual. They don't have to be. The spirit tell them, say, the doctor's giving it to people. They wasn't stupid.
Yeah, they did a documentary, too, on the Ebola. In Africa, where it broke out in.
Yeah.
One sister had it, but she overcame it.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
But see.
That was the 1967 strain.
But see.
This is the strain they got out. That strain they had out right there was a 7-day strain, and Andromeda strain. That movie that came out and showed you. That was the first Ebola test. this, now they got a new improved 48 hours.
And the Andromeda Strain, the Andromeda Strain was written by who? It was written by Michael Crichton. And I know doggone well, I say, now why in the devil is white people going crazy over dinosaurs all of a sudden? Jurassic Park was not about no dinosaurs. Jurassic Park was about genetic engineering and cloning. When they got the doggone, what they do? They got the DNA from the mosquito from the blood and clone what? A dinosaur. They were showing you that they had the technology to clone. You see, that's what the movie was all about. That's why this movie stayed in the theater for over a year. It took it almost a year to get on video. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's deal with this thing, because not only that, something else happened. Something else happened. When they went, Brother Ishaka Musabar Shanga flew to Africa. He met a sister over there who was a psychic. She said, tell Khalid Muhammad to not go to the white universities because they're going to shoot his ass. They called him up person to person, and he talked to the woman, and he didn't believe the shit, and he went out there and he got shot. He went out there and he got shot. You see what I'm saying? The nigga that shot him, they say his eyes was messed up like he was in a trance. They beat this nigga to the inch of his life. And the next day, he's standing up on fucking damn TV, the guy who bailed him out with a Band-Aid on. Ain't no way in hell you gonna get beat for the inch of your life, and the next day you got on a fucking Band-Aid. Up and about with no other bruises on you. Because it's a fucking clone. It's a fucking clone. You see what I'm saying? Not only that, half your fucking boule, clones.
Hey, Bob, I'd like to add to that, as far as the clones. He was saying last night that Malcolm X got killed. Malcolm X got killed in November 1963.
Mm-hmm.
He got shot at November 1963. So it was planned to kill him like they did Malcolm.
Yeah, okay, exactly. All of us hooked up. All of us hooked up. I want to ask this question here. Motherfucker put his life on the line for you. Let's be real about this thing. Put his life on the line for you, and you don't even go to the hospital to visit this man when he gets shot? You don't go visit this man when he gets shot? Now ain't no way in hell you gonna justify this. You don't go visit this man when he gets shot? I got this from, see, cause I'm rolling. I got this from one of the mosques, one of the brothers is one of the head members in the mosque of Detroit under Rasul. He said, we want to know why the minister Louis Farrakhan didn't even go and visit the man when he's in the damn hospital. Now, that's what I got from the what you call it. Now, I want to know what the hell going on. You see? Half your boule is clones. This thing is real. Half the stuff is real. You see? This thing is all choreographed.
Made it a clone?
Huh?
Made it? Jackson.
Who knows? They can clone a person. They can clone a person in 3 days. They can clone a person in 3 days. O.J. Simpson, you doggone right. Let me tell you the deal on that. Let me tell you the deal on that. Ain't no way in hell you gonna sit in a courtroom and people. Now it's one thing you sit in the courtroom and you did something and you guilty, and the people and you sit there. And we all know the police planted that thing. Now you sit there and the people tell blatant lie after lie about you and you don't even flinch. They say that nigga, they got that nigga clone, they switch up a clone. They switch one up every time they go on a damn break. They switch one of them things up to make sure that shit don't discombobulate. Right up in there. You see. You remember they was switching up jury and all that stuff? All that stuff is because they had to get, because what happened, the reason why it had to switch was because the whole fucking jury is clones. They ain't gonna put no, come on now, they ain't gonna put no jury. How the hell you think they gonna allow to have a whole black jury up in there in the first damn place if the shit ain't cloned? Right. They was switching them shits up because them clones was fucking up. And they was switching it up. If you don't clone 2 or 3 of them shits is messing up. This stuff is real.
Yeah. Hey, you gotta teach the clone that, like, all the biological information about the person, because cloning is more knowing it, right?
No, now these clones, they got advanced thing. They got memory now. They think, when they come out, they literally think that they are that person.
Let me tell you something. You know, one thing I learned in Atlantis, what they used to teach the children, you can take a crystal and put 40 years worth of knowledge into a crystal, give it to a child, if you program that crystal with that knowledge, give it to a child, and a child can sit there and meditate with that crystal 30 minutes a day for a week, and obtain all that knowledge. It took you 40 years to get in a matter of a week of just sitting here and meditating with the crystal. Now, he won't know what he knows until he needs it. You understand what I'm trying to say? He won't be conscious of all this knowledge that he has until he's put in a situation where it comes out.
Not only that, too, if you think of lying, go see the fucking movie Virtuosity. How did they kill the robot at the end? Who saw the movie? They killed the robot at the end. He was unstoppable. When Denzel Washington, they showed Denzel Washington had dreads in the movie. Denzel Washington had dreads in the movie, Virtuosity. Well, how did they kill it? At the end, he had to take that computer chip out, that black dot, and crush it, because all the memory bank was up in there. Was up in there. They got memory bank in these things now, but they can program up in there certain genetic these programming. So even though the clone has memory, they are programmed to do what the hell they want them to do. Also, right. Also, ain't no way in the hell you're going to get the most militant black man on the earth to come back to the nation of Islam and be down with a doggone marching. You see what I'm saying? But when they went in the hospital, all they need is that blood. All they need is that blood. And now you down with a march? Come on, man. This ain't no, and see, nobody can't tell me, they can't justify it, because this is not no Martin Luther King, and ask yourself, would the Honorable Elijah Muhammad march in some street? Hell no.
Some people have said, though, that Collins isn't, you know, he did that for a minute, but that he's really not down with it. And that,
well,
even though he spoke on it, yeah, but that didn't.
I'm going to tell you, but see, so one thing on his say, but see, the thing about it, you're right.
I was just saying was the thing.
You're right.
That he realizes now that he was used to bring in the youth and to bring in brothers from prison because the minister had lost contact.
But you know what?
I don't know.
It's funny. When I went to doggone Charlotte, and the head of the Charlotte Mosque told me, say, look, say, all I know is the brothers and the sisters in the brothers in the nation talking about they want to kill Farrakhan because of the doggone hypocrite thing. Call him a hypocrite. Steve Coakley told me with his own mouth on the phone, man, they trying to kill that brother. You see what I'm saying? You see? Same thing, the same thing, but I'm saying, despite that, I'm saying even if you don't even get into the clone thing, I'm telling you that when a million niggas march up in there, they're going to drop the Ebola. They're going to drop the doggone Ebola. They showed it on TV. They already showed it on TV. They showed what they was going to do on the TV set, and they're going to drop that doggone Ebola. You see. They're going to drop that doggone Ebola, and plus they got you registered. They know how many million niggas. And then they can justify putting the rest of us in the concentration camps. In the concentration camps. This is what the deal is right now. Okay, so we're going to go on this little break right now. We're going to go on the break. What we want to do is we want to pass the hat. If y'all can be so gracious and kind, you get a little basket. Y'all can pass the hat and, and we go on the break and we come back and we go back for some more blood in a few. Give her that one too. Now I got that book, Millennium Prophecies. This particular book, yeah. When you get it, A.T. Man, The whole book is based on the prophecies, but the prophecies are lined up in the first page of the book. They line up the prophecies in this book. So then they go and explain the prophecies. So once you do, if you look down the prophecies, they explain these particular prophecies at greater on in the book. So that's how you use it. Plus it has an index. The name of that is Millennium Prophecies, A.T. Man, something like that. Millennium Prophecies 2000, A.T. Man, yeah. Now, he has these charts on sale for $1. Brother Heru at Airwall Communication, and these particular charts are dealing with the omniverse, and it breaks down the omniverse. These are grids?
Yeah, that's as explained by Delbert Blair.
By Delbert Blair.
Right, that's just a simplified version.
Okay, and it's a simplified version of the omniverse, which is the complete universe, explained by Delbert Blair. I see here is grids. You see there, these are UFO grids and different things. There's the black dot, and also too, you have different forms of chaos too, in here, and 7 universes, 144 galaxies, 1 galaxy, 1 universe, 12 solar systems, 1 solar system, 12 planets. So let's see, one omniverse equals 7 universes. 144 sectors equals 1 universe, and 1 sector equals 144 galaxies, and 144 million constellations equals 1 galaxy, and 1 constellation equals 12 solar systems, 12 planets equals 1 solar system. So this is a chart that the brother has produced. So we have these up here. If anybody want any, if anybody want any of those, they're going to be selling them for $1, huh?
One thing you forgot to mention about OJ being a clone was the glove.
Right. The reason why that glove didn't fit is because they cloned him after that. And those gloves was for the O.J. Simpson that was on, remember they showed him on the TV set?
Right.
Then this one here, the hands were a little bit bigger. And they didn't do it, so they didn't check their homework on that particular part. You see, and the gloves didn't fit. Gloves didn't fit. Now, it's interesting because now if you're going to deal with, see, there's different books that deal with apocalypse. Your apocalyptic books in the Hebrew faith is the book of Enoch. No, now is the book of Enoch, and which is one of your apocalyptic books in the now this book here has got pages after page of them kicking the white boy in the ass, and it just straight up. See if I can read you something. Okay. And the downcast in the continuance shall the kings of earth become. The downcast is us. We shall become the kings of earth. And the strong who possess the land of works, and the strong who possess the land of the works in their hands, for the day of their anguish and affliction shall not be able to save themselves. So it says the strong who possess the land, that's the cracker. They say it's going to be a day of anguish and affliction. They're not going to be able to save themselves. And I will give over to the hands mine elect, the elect of God, that's us. And it says, and a straw in the fire shall they burn before the face of the holy. That's talking about that cracker burning up. You know, his whole etheric body is burning up. One thing they didn't say, a lot of white people, whole astral bodies is catching on fire. You see that in the Philadelphia experiment. That's called when your whole etheric body, when that kundalini raises up, your whole body just catches on fire. And it's interesting because there's a book out from School Press out of London, England, talk about fires from heaven, how white people catch on fire because they don't have the body to take a certain amount of energy. Yeah.
Are you talking about like spontaneous combustion?
Spontaneous combustion, that's what it is. The name of the book is People Who Spontaneous Combustion, Fires from Heaven, School Press. And Europeans burn up like that, you see, because their bodies can't take the certain energy because this earth is not conducive to them anyway. But since the vibratory rate is rising, they can't even take it. So they're disappearing before our eyes. And the day of affliction shall be the rest. Oh, let me get this right now. Now, it says, and And I saw a fire, so that the fire shall burn before the face of the holy. It's burning before the face of the holy. We are the holy. Then it says, and then it says, and lead into water shall they sink before the face of the righteousness. So they're going to sink in water because, you know, the earthquake's going to take them down. Now, and no trace of them shall be found. And on the day of their great affliction shall be the rest on earth. And before them they shall fall and not rise again. And there shall be no one to take them in his hands and raise them up. You see, then they talk about us. And they have deemed the Lord of spirits his anointed, and the name of the spirits are blessed. So this book is talking about the extermination of the cracker, but the reason why this book was not added into the canonical gospels or the other gospels is because this book gives up too much information. Number one, the book of Enoch proves that the Bible is one of the partly Ethiopian, because this book here gives you the whole Ethiopian translation of the book of Enoch, which is the Hebrew Apocalypse. Now, this book here, Cosmos and Chaos, an introduction. Now, this book here is for scholarly people. You know, if you were a scholar, this book here, Cosmos and Chaos, and it says, and the world to come. And this book is the ancient roots of apocalypse faith by Norman Cohen. This book gives you all of the scriptures from around the world and the apocalypse. They give the Egyptian apocalypse, the Sumerian apocalypse, the Hebrew apocalypse, the Hebrew apocalypse, the Christian apocalypse, Hindu apocalypse. They give you all of them around the world. It's a $32 book from Yale University, and it says New Haven, London. So this is coming from Yale University, and also New Haven and London. So it's a $35 book that's out. It's been out about a year, and it gives you all of the apocalyptic faith. And the Hemmitt one, they go into the different things when he's talking about how all this stuff is going to fall. So this is one of the books. Another book, The Passover Plot. The Passover Plot is a key book that's just been put back out. It's one of the books that was sold over 3 million. It came out in 1965 or 1966. And this is the book on how Jesus literally set himself up. He was a master of the doggone Dead Sea Scrolls, and he literally set himself up to become the Messiah, even though he thought he was the Messiah. But this book here shows how he set his whole thing up, and how after he got killed, then the black Jews, the Hebrews, were like, no, hell no, because we got the real deal, jump on the Messiah, and the one that's supposed to come back don't supposed to get killed. That's the one that's supposed to kill. So ain't no way in hell no Messiah coming back and somebody gonna kill him, you see. So that particular one, he was no more the Messiah than any other people. But in the Kabbalah, which waits Kabbalah that I'll get into in a few minutes, the Messiah is black people, period, you see. And that's the problem why we following all these Negroes and all this type of stuff. And basically, the Messiah is within you, you see. Now, we're going to deal with this thing because in the book of Daniel, the prophecy was, in the book of Daniel, Israel a nation. When Israel become a nation, then you will have a covenant that can set up the ongoing time of when the Christ will rise again. First of all, Israel is Israel, Isis, Ra, and El. Isis, Aset, which is the mother, Ra, which is the son, and El also is Al, which means son also, the son of the son, the mother, the father, and the son. You see what I'm saying? That's the Trinity again. Israel, which is black people. So Israel is not a place. You see what I'm saying? It's not a place. Even though you have the city that was built, Israel was named Israel. Israel in the Bible is talking about black people. So we know that Israel, the fake Israel, when did it become a nation? We know that damn well that couldn't be the one they say, the one that the fake Israel that they set up in 48? We know that that's not the one because those are the fake cracker Jews that have nothing to do with the original Hebrews that was converted into the faith. We know, so in that case, we needed to do a little research to say, well, when would Israel become a nation? They said, well, Israel became a nation when black people became into slavery in the Western Hemisphere. You see, in the ancient time, all the scripts, the Egyptian scripts, the Hemmitt scripts, all the different scripts that was put down, that was based on a prophetic history in the future, you couldn't distinguish because it was all black people when these things first originated. So only time you would know yourself for not being black, where you would actually have to notice yourself being black other than just being human, is when some other race would come in and look at you based on color. So therefore, what they had to do is, when the cracker came in, they had to take the extrapolation of all ancient people, different types, for this nation. You got all kind of black people from all over Africa for this nation. Take them out of Africa and put them in the Western Hemisphere, because we're talking about the West, which the Son of Man will rise up in the West, which is the Son in man, because everybody got a son inside of their ass. Next time a motherfucker talk about some side of you, take out a gun and shoot that fucker. Use the expression, but like I said, curse words, the old curse words, there's no such thing as curse words. The English language wasn't even in existence when the scriptures was put down. So there's no such thing as a curse word. Most of the words, when you translate them, not curse words at all. It was figures of speech that became taboo based on incidents, and based on a culture, they call them curse words. God don't honor none of that. So therefore, since we adopted this as our official language of the ghetto, hey, now. So when did Israel become a nation? It became a nation when we all came over here. But that's kind of playing with it, because we know that slavery, there's all different dates for slavery. Long before the cracker said it was over here, we've been coming over here. But we became a nation when you make it a law. The universe go by laws when you make your decree. So when you make your decree when you make it law, you make it law in the universe. So when was the law? The law was, the ultimate law is when Spain said, because even though you had the Portuguese, when Spain came in and made it a law about slavery, was 1505. Now, in the book of Daniel, the prophecy says after 490 years, the Christ will come, which is talking about the Christ consciousness in you. Now, take 1505 to 1995, and what the hell you got? 490 years. Then you can see how we right in the middle of this thing. You see. Now, that leads us to this. And he has 4 copies. The one you want to get is Waite's Holy Kabbalah. The other Kabbalah is a scientific breakdown of, he got the great copies up there, is a scientific breakdown of the spheres of the tree of life. But the Waite's Holy Kabbalah, this is where your biblical scriptures came from. This is the precursor to the Bible. This is the rudiment of where the Bible came from. This is the esoteric Bible, and your King James or whatever, your other scripture, canonical gospels, are your exoteric Bible. This is dealing with the scriptures on what the stuff really means. Now, let's deal with what the Messiah is based on the scriptures of the Waite's Holy Kabbalah, which is parallel to scriptures. And let's deal with this thing. The king will rise up and conquer the world. There will be a war in Israel. But the chosen people shall be delivered. You know who the hell the chosen people are. We'll go into that in a few minutes. Now, it says, I will give you a new spirit I will put in you, within you. And again, it shall come to pass that I will pour my spirit upon the flesh, and your sons and daughters shall prophesy, and old men shall dream dreams, and young men shall see visions. In another translation, they say the men will have revelations as far as the intellectual ability, and the women will see more, because the women are more spiritual, so they will be the seers a lot of times. But it can go vice versa, because, you know, based on we all messed up. The intruders. Now, what is an intruder? The intruder is a person that intrudes on a normal life wave that wasn't there in the beginning. That's an intruder. The intruder shall be exterminated. At the time shall be accomplished when it is said in the tradition. To this period, referable to the text of Genesis, and it says that Adam and Eve were naked and ashamed. That's also talking about the intruders being unveiled. You see, Adam and Eve 6,000 years ago, that ain't us. We ain't got no birth record. As a matter of fact, if I ever get a chance to put it together, I got some stuff coming out of England, a history starting at 15 billion years old. Out of England. 15 billion years old. The black race starts a fight. As a result of this fight on a large strip of land between Africa and Australia, they blow the moon from the earth. And I'm like, well, damn. The old man with the 4th grade education was right. I'll go into that in a few minutes. Now, let's deal with this. It says, and the intruder, let's get this right, here it is. And the change will come over them, over the dream of Israel, and they shall enter into its own plains and its own worlds with the help of the right spirit. They shall enter into their own plane and their own world with the help of the right spirit renewed within them. Now this is the key. Listen to what this thing says. This is the spirit of the Messiah. It ain't say one mug, they say all of them. It is written, renew the spirit within me, and that we know that is Christ, who is to come in each of us. You see? In each of us. When this Christ is renewed, the intruder will be exterminated because he will no longer, what it says in here, he will no longer be able to put you under the spell with his luxuries. That's the key right now. We can't get nothing because everybody in the comfort zone. I got to get paid. All right. Within them, the luxuries, we're in the comfort zone. The luxuries. The cracker got you paying for stuff that he stole from you because he don't own nothing. All the raw materials coming from Africa. Everything is coming as your doggone materials is free. And he got you paying for the stuff. Therefore, that's why ultimately you can't free yourself with the economic structure for the simple fact that would put you into slavery can never free you from slavery. It's bigger than that. You see what I'm saying? It's bigger than that. You see. Check. Now, that's okay. Now, what this deal, so in this particular book, they explain the coming of the Messiah in the chapter on the Messiah in Waite's Holy Kabbalah. In Waite's Holy Kabbalah, they explain that the Messiah and what's going on, and they're saying that you are the Messiah. See, that's the esoteric version. They gave the exoteric people, and people is looking for a Messiah. They don't know the Messiah is in them. And when we break down these Bible scriptures and that, we'll show you how this particular Messiah is also in you. Now, let's go on. Now, in 1931, the key to the book of law is the number 31, is the key to the book of law. And in 1931 was the same time when Master Farad Muhammad came and taught Honorable Elijah Muhammad the messages for 3 years. And then they had a worldwide manhunt to get him. Now, you didn't know it, but the white boy knew the shit that he was the Elijah prophesied out of the Bible because they gave him a motorcade in Washington, D.C. They knew who the hell he was. And they gave him an army and a motorcade down Washington, D.C., and he went to these congressional crackers and doomed them all to hell. That's in the doggone, that's in the book, The Theology of Time. So they knew who he was, you see. Now, by them knowing who he was, they knew that 20 years after him, what's his name got out of jail? Malcolm X got out of jail. They knew after him, as he being the forerunner to Christ, they knew that after him comes the Christ. So Malcolm got out of jail, and by them studying, they thought that Malcolm X was the Christ. They knew that damn Martin Luther King wasn't shit because they wrote all his speeches. They set that fucker up. And he ruined it for black people all over the time. You see what I'm saying? Ain't nothing glorified about Martin Luther King because he's straight up boule, and they wrote his speeches. So he was a pawn in the game for the doggone cracker. a traitor. And the reason, and you know that's true because they use his politics to get black people to apologize for white people being racist to this day. Every time they come around, they talk about Martin Luther King taught love, but if they loved him, why didn't they keep him around? You see what I'm saying? But they knew, but based on that, they thought that he was the Messiah. Malcolm. That's why they worked around the clock with Operation Dirty Trick to bust up that whole thing and kill him in 1965. And then 10 years later, Honorable Elijah Muhammad ascended with Haile Selassie on the ship. We got that from the spiritual realm, and now it's 20 years later from that. All in the hookup. All in the hookup. You see. Now, to deal with some more stuff on the Messianic mystery. Got a lot of stuff. I'm going to pass some books around. I'm going to show you some stuff. In Israel, there must be a return to the relationship of God. I ain't talking about you turning around and being more obedient and righteous to God. This shit is bigger than your whatever. You know that the God look at you as little ants? That means that every portion of your life that you think is more dear to you and the things that you do, that don't even exist to the gods. They don't give a damn about that, what that. They don't give a damn if you go run buck naked up the street with a beer bottle up your butt. They don't care. They look at you as ants. They only look at the spirit within you. You like to fancy yourself as being important in the universe. They don't even, some of them, the gods, and some of those gods forgot you even been down here. They don't even, you know, so your whole life existence is nothing but a hologram that a series of events put on by the ego to maintain the sun inside of you while it is asleep. Only thing that's mattered is the sun inside of you, the seed that's been asleep while a hologram covers it up, which is your ego, which is a series of events that you think is real, which reincarnates over and over again, and that physical shell holds that seed until the day that seed ignites, which is the black dot igniting into the sun. They don't give a doggone. So personal moral dogma was put in here for the white man to behave. You see, for the white man to behave. They call you the blameless people. Why do they call you the blameless people? They're saying because you're asleep. And everything you're going through now is based on a conditioning process anyway. It's not your real nature. They go by natures. And that nature is going by your energy, what your energy is capable of. Not anything to do with moral dogma like good behavior. They don't care nothing about that. You see what I'm saying? They don't care a doggone thing about that. Things that you trip on, like abortion. That you go in, first of all, they don't have. Let me tell you the deal now. I don't suggest you do this because of the simple fact that we so crazy. But it's like this. You see, what you call life is actually death. So when you send a child back, you save the child from coming down here dying and reincarnating in the messed up cycle. It's all backwards. When you get into the main thing, it's all backwards. Now, that don't mean that you shouldn't have children. Yeah, they put it in so you're supposed to go forth and multiply. They say, may he rot. They got to keep the doggone sons coming down here. But I'm just saying certain things that you think is so dead is nothing. They don't care nothing about you, who you screw with, or none of that stuff. That was for the white man. They say you the gods. You see, you the gods. And until you wake up, this is null and void. This is a hologram. You see. So it says that there must be a relationship returned to God, the Godhead. Godhead. The God is in your head. That's the black dot. Return to the God within them. You see, within them. It says, initiated with the covenant of Sinai, the elixir of melanin, covenant of Sinai, mount. Anytime you hear mount, both in the book of Coming Forth by Day and there, they're talking about a mount is an apex, where it's talking about this is the mountain top. It's the Mount Sinai. Mount of Olives is talking about melanin. It's talking about the crossing over of the tree. Nothing to do with no fucking man going up on no mountain. It's nothing external. It's all going on within you. And if you look at it, mundane and external, you don't get it. That's why you can have 700, what? How many I said? 700 and so many thousand denominations. Because they're looking at it based on a series of events that the Hebrews messed around and turned into actual history when it was knowledge based on the soul. They turned it into actual histories and made up a history, and you follow the history, and it's a prophetic history, half of that, but most of it is metaphysical, talking about cosmological, talking about your souls being trapped down here, and it's going back to the thing. Energy transforming. Nothing to do with no doggone man on no cross and all that kind of stuff. The priests know this. They teach that to the child. Now, all right. Saith the Lord. This is in saith the Lord, I will put my spirits in their inwards part. My spirit. I'm God. I'm going in the inwards part. I'm going to possess them. It says, I will forgive them for their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. What does he mean? He's meaning that all this stuff that you are thinking about is already forgiven, because sin, the word for sin means restriction. It means the physical body that restricts you from being God. Nothing about the way you behave. This is the body. You're born in sin. You're born in a physical body. I will forgive them for their sins. I will remember their sins no more, which means I can't remember it because they are released from the physical body. We'll go back into that in question and answer. Now, he has promised that the spiritual, system of Israel will be helped. No, excuse me. No, I got that wrong. The spiritual inferiority of Israel will be helped by the intervention of God within them. It's all taking place within you. That's the key to the gnosis. That's called knowledge. All the stuff about, I want to go into masonry, I want to go into this, I want to go and find out the grand mysteries. The mystery is, there is no God but man, because is it not written in the law that ye are gods? John chapter 10, verse 34, 35. The divine mystery is the concealment it's talking about within. All the other bull jive is the stuff that they put in there as a means of initiation to get you through these things so you can get to the real deal thing. The way I look at God is the way God looks back at me. That's a mirror reflection, because I am God. That's the mystery. All the mystery system. That's the key. All the damn scholars couldn't tell you because they didn't know. They never studied metaphysics. None of them. None of them. They never studied this stuff. They didn't know. You see, none of the scholars didn't know. They're historical scholars. Let's deal with a few more things. Let me deal with some other things. Okay. A lot of the stuff you can find, a lot of stuff on the Messiah in this book. The Passover plot in this book, the Armageddon script by Peter Lemisher. The Armageddon script. A lot of good stuff up in this book. I personally enjoyed this book because this book has a lot of good stuff up in it. And the reason why I say that is you can, if anybody know anything about the Bible, you can follow this stuff. You see, you can follow it and all. So it's a lot of good stuff in the books. Now, it says, therefore, it was held that God would intervene by the means of the anointed one, the Messiahs, the tribe of Levi and Judah. The anointed one. Remember that word, anointed. We're going to go into that in a few minutes. The warrior Messiah. The Jews at the time of Jesus were expecting a warrior Messiah who would come and win the military victories over the enemy of Israel. And it would accomplish the deliverance. The Jews rejected Jesus because Jesus was a man of peace. You see, who represented the love of God, and he messed it up because he was telling them to love some cracker Romans. And the Jews said, hell no. Some bullshit. You see. The Jews knew that the Messiah history of the Camite Heru, of the Egyptian Heru, after all, they were the same race. And they knew that all forms of the Messiah that was supposed to come back was coming back to kick ass. And if a man came in the middle of that talking some bull job, he was not the Messiah at all. You see, was not the Messiah at all. And that book, The Passover Plot, go into the whole history of that thing, how he messed up everything. You see, when he came and intervened and stuff, it threw the whole world off and stuff because they thought the Messiah had come. So you say the second coming. The second coming is not the second coming of a man of 2,000 years ago. The second coming is you were once gods. You fell into darkness and you fell asleep, and now you are second coming back to your godhood. Nothing about a man, Jesus Christ. And they threw off the whole thing. And the Passover Plot is one of the best books ever written on it, on that whole Jesus factor. You see. Now, the wicked watches out for the righteous and seek to slay them. The Lord will not abandon him unto his hand. Let him be commanded within when he is tried. It's got a lot to do with this. I'm going to go into some things on the O.J. Simpson trial. You think, oh, that nigga there reaching for stuff. That's bull jive. We went up in the University of Chicago, the University of Detroit. That trial was recorded 10,000 years ago, and I got the manuscript on that. I'm going to go into that in a few minutes. But in a few minutes. So they were saying here that the wicked was watching and was ready to slay them. They said, but the great one said that ain't going to happen once he is tried. We got a catch for that. Now, let's go into some other things here, because I want to get down to some things that, get my paper, get down to some things that we're dealing with at this particular time. The Mithric ritual, Mithra, the god Mithra is Persia. The god Mithra is from Persia, which is a form of Heru, the Christ. That Mithra Persia is not Iraq. Your revelations that came out of Egypt did not come by the way of Egypt. It went to Persia, and the Christians brought it from the Persian one. So that's the god Mithra that they that they did a whole lot of things behind, as far as a lot of the stuff you get with Christ. It's Mithra in Persia. It's Abraxas in the Gnostic schools in Alexandria, Egypt. It's Heru in Hemmitt. You see, all of that is talking about the same one and all, but this particular person came in and intruded on the live wave, and he done messed up the whole thing for everybody. Now, 666, you're going to get that book, the Pyramids of Montauk. They're going to tell you 666 is the key to the Bible, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. It's going to be in the wisdom of Tahuti in there, in the Pyramids of Montauk. And they said which is carbon, which is melanin, which is a key to the Bible. You see. Also in the Kabbalistic dictionary, the Crawley Kabbalistic dictionary, the Hebrew Kabbalistic breakdown of 666 means Jesus. You see what I'm saying? Which is Jesus, which is actually talking about a name Jeshua, which is Christ, which is not talking about the Christ of 2,000 years. It's just a name to symbolize Christ, period. You see. Also, there's a 666 chamber in the Great Pyramid, which is the black dot chamber in the Great Pyramid. Also, there's a chamber that is also in the Great Pyramid that they're talking about, this particular chamber. Now, in the Book of Law, he's going to show, let me hold that book, let me show him this particular picture. This is in this Book of Law. The Book of Law, which is the law of Israel, is called Word Made Truth, which is talking about the Christ, called Word Made Truth. Well, you got all these particular ones about the different Christ, but the most ancient Christ is the god Heru or Horus. In his book, the Book of Law, that came in 1904, which is the Book of Law, threefold book of melanin, and also proclaiming that Heru was the original Christ that goes back for millions of years, and all. It was called Word Made Truth, which means, well, what is Word Made Truth? Word Made Truth is all the different names. In the end, my name will be true, and this particular book came in 1904 to proclaim that. In the Book of Law, they show a particular UFO grid, but also they show a line, and they also show a point with an X in it. And that point with the X in it, when you square that point with the X, it becomes a point squared, which is also talking about melanin. The point is the black circle within you. The square is also 2 pyramids upside down. The pyramid is the mount that they talk about, the Mount of Olives. The 2 pyramids is representation of melanin. One of the names for pyramid is the symbol for the god Kim. And the god Kim is the god of melanin. Kim means melanin. So this particular one is saying that this whole book is talking about, the key to this book is a pyramid with a circle, which is talking about melanin, is the key to that particular book. And so this particular book, the Pyramids of Montauk, will explain more about this particular book, that for 90 years, even though there's a lot of ciphers in there that the white boy hadn't been able to figure out, for almost doggone 90 years, he hadn't been able to figure this thing out. Now, I'm giving you a lot of books that you can write down. Now, one of the best books on the apocalypse, this one comes from England. It's a $21 book. Comes from England. You want to learn some good stuff on the apocalypse. One of the most simplified ones is this book, $21. It's by Emil Bach, B-O-C-K, E-M-I-L, Apocalypse of St. John. Now, In here on page 176. Now you can go home in your Bible and read Revelation and find out about the second death. The second death is this. This earth is going into another dimension. We will die physically into the spiritual realm. Those particular white people who do not have the black dot, which is the cosmic gateway, so the dimension that you're going to go through is in your own head. You're going to slide through it. That's what you see, slider. You see all the other space movies and stuff is the fake shit. They put on the show Sliders on Sunday. You seen this thing on Sliders? There's no such thing as time and space. What you see out there, those planets are different dimensions. There's no such thing, and you got to slide. That's the physical space, which is a hologram and an illusion. You can't build no machine to get to none of them planets. That's why the cracker ain't been able to do it. You get to those planets or that space by sliding through your head, sliding up into the black dot, and sliding through the gateway. That's the sliders. So they say same Earth, different dimensions. But those in the dimensions you see is the planets out there. And so you get to those dimensions through your body, not through no fucking machine. That's the white boy has got to try to use a machine because he can't slide. You see, so we're literally sliding. But because of them sliding, because they don't have the actual energy to slide, what will happen is when the Kundalini energy rises them up, because they don't have a gateway or opening to slide through, they just burn up. So they'll have to die a second death. You see, it says, now in this book it says, on the other side, those of the dead were brought on to spark of Christ, light with them from the earth. Now, it says those who were dead brought a spark of Christ, light from them, within them from the earth. That means you got this black dot in you, which is the sun. That's your light. And you're bringing it with you. That's going to be your saving grace. Now, from the earth. But only the darkness and the weight of temporal existence. Now look at this. While on the earth, they have already evoked a spear of the second death by the attention of the material interest. Now, let me go back and read that. It says, but only, let me get this right, but only the darkness and the weight of temporal existence. What they mean by that is this. There's two things going on. Some of the people, they're going to bring this sun within them. The other people, because they don't have the sun within them, they will have to die a second death. When you die, you go to certain astral planes. You go one way, the white people go the other way. They go to the lower astral planes. When the earth raises itself up, it destroys the lower astral planes. So when that energy or that spirit, they have a spirit, but they don't have a soul. It's a difference. We've been confusing spirits with soul. They got all kind of spirits out here. You see, when that spirit goes back to its lower astral plane, since that lower astral plane is all cleaned off now, they don't have no way to go, so they'll die a second death. You see, one is the physical death, the other one is the spiritual death. But the only ones that can die the spiritual death is the ones who don't have a soul. And that soul is carbonated souls from the first primal material called the Sol Nigger or the Negrito, which means melanin. You see, so the second death. Now, in the book of Coming Forth by Day, the book of the dead, you can find different ones, the different ones. One of the best ones is Gerald Mass's book of the dead, because it parallels with Jesus and you can understand it. But there's other ones. This is one of the Budge hardback editions, but you can find them different budgets, but the one to get is the one from Citadel Press that has an index. Now, there is sections in the book of Coming Forth by Day called the ritual of not cutting off the head. Now, I'm going to show you something. What do they mean by that? Let me show you these pictures. I want to show you this picture. Huh? No, but see, this is not the book of, this is the gods of the Egyptian. This is the god of the Egyptian. This is coming from the temple walls at Seti 1. I'm going to go put it in the camera. I'm going to pass it around. I'm going to show it to you. Put it in the camera. I'm going to point to it. You see some people there with their head cut off. right? There's a thing going on. There's some people with their head cut off right there. Now, those people with their head cut off, I'm going to pass this around, is white people. It's right in the Gods of the Egyptian. You can get the scale. E. Wallace Bud's Gods of the Egyptian, page 231. They got their head cut off. Now, I'm going to pass this around and show everybody. Now, on page, pass this around and show it to everybody. You start it off. You see some people there with their head cut off. Go back and look at the Highlander series. Got to cut off the head. You battle with the gods, and the one who loses got the head cut off. They got it from the book of Coming Forth by Day in the ritual of not cutting off the head. Now, what does that mean? That means that the ones, it's a metaphysical drama of the ones who will die will be the ones that don't have a head, which means that the God don't have a Godhead, because this is the battle of the gods. You have a Godhead. The Godhead is because you got a black dot in your head, which is the Godhead. They call it the star head. The ritual of cutting off the head that you see on here is the white people, because they don't have the black dot. Their head is cut off. You see, which means that they'll just die based on their head is cut off. That means that those people are not human in the first doggone place. Now, on another page in the book, you're going to see a man standing up. That's going to be on page 247 in the same Gods of the Egyptian, volume, is that volume 1 or 2?
Volume 1.
Volume 1. You're going to see a man standing up with a circle. I'll go up here and put it in the camera. Right there. Now now let me show this for the camera and show it to him, and then you can go ahead and pass this around. There's the man. I'm documenting the shit on the film. Right there. Show you. So the cracker, so it won't be no thing for all these niggas to say that white people got things. No, it's right on the temple walls of the temple of Seti I, Abydos, that the cracker tore down in the early 19th century and built it back and took these things off. But it's in the book. Now, pass this around. You got huh? Yeah, pass this around and show the people. And I got the page number, so hell. Show the people with the head cut off. Now, let me get this stuff on the circle and the point. The circle and the point. The point within a circle is the glyph of Ra. Is the glyph of Ra. The circle means the phoenix, that's light. The point means the crow, that's melanin. The yin and the yang. The light is the actual. The light is the actual the prism of the halo, but it's being sparked off from a point. Now, remember I showed you in Kabbalah of the ancient world? The same picture right here. Y'all all right? The same picture right here where they show the sun, and these are the rays, these rays are you, but it shows how they make the ray, and it's making it from a point. Now, the circle and the point is, the halo is your crown chakra, that's the point. The point is the crow. That's why the movie The Crow is important, because that was a movie about melanin. And how once the crow came on him, they could shoot him up all the hell they want to. Brandon Lee last movie. They could shoot him up, but they couldn't kill him, because what he was doing, he was avenging his girlfriend. But if you remember now, all ancient scripts, they are avenging somebody. Revenge. That's what all your Kung Fu movie was made off of. They made off the ancient scripts that the ancient black people would revenge themselves against this cracker. You see what I'm saying? So all your Kung Fu movies was based on that, based on the Heru drama. The point is black dot melanin. The point equals Kim, which is a name for melanin. Mentu, which is a name for melanin, which is the god Mentu. The B666, which is also a name for melanin. The circle equals Ra. Sol, you get the word Sol, which is Hebrew for sun. You get the word Solomon. Sol, Solomon, hidden sun. Amun means hidden. Sol means sun. Solomon means the hidden sun. You see, Solomon, Sol, light, and the phoenix. The phoenix rising, this is the city of the phoenix. That's why they had the first statue down up there. They had the statue up at Martin Luther King Drive, but they now took it down and they get ready to put it back up in Woodruff Park. It's the city of the Phoenix. The Phoenix is known as a hawk and a falcon. Atlanta Hawks, Atlanta Falcons. The city of the Christ. Phoenix. Atlanta Hawks, Atlanta Falcons. Cracker own it, which is the god Heru. Sleeves of the cop, the Phoenix. You see, on the trash trucks. You see, and all. The circle and the dot means the crown and conquering child. You know it as the crown and conquering Lord of Jesus, Lord of Judah. Leo, the circle and the crown means Leo, which is the 19. It means God, the original people. Circle and the crown means Osiris or Osar, the prototype of the black man. The circle and the crown means Harmachis, which is the Christ, one of the names of the Christ that's going to rise, known as Michael in the Bible. King of kings, Lord of lords, you see, which is you. King of kings, Lord of lords. Let's go on. Let's deal with some things here. But the man there got the circle. You'll see one of the pictures of the man that's got the circle in the head. That's you. And he's going on through. He's making it through the abyss.